We got it.
Okay. Are we recording? Cool. Okay. Super sweet. Who wants to give the opening prayer? Um, Callie, do you want to give it?
Yep, I was just about to volunteer. I had to click the OK button for recording. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for all that we have. Thank you that we are able to have this meeting today, and thank you that we were able to perform well on our doohickeys paper. Please bless us, we'll be able to have a good conversation. And I say these things in Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank
Funny,
you.
it's funny to be praying over the word doohickeys. I'm like, that's something you never
All
thought
right,
you'd hear
Tristan.
included in a sentence.
Um, which I think is really funny for this week's discussion because we're talking about the step one, the TSA job. Um, and I think it's really, really funny right now. I'm coincidental because actually they're shut down, and we're going to talk about why they're shut down. First of all, hi Rachel,
Hi.
how are you doing?
Good. Sorry, guys. I'm in the car today and I was late. Sorry.
No worries, we're glad you're here. The first question I'm supposed to ask, um, Chloe, um, do um, has anyone, or not Chloe, or just anyone in particular, has anyone think it be interested in working for the TSA?
I don't think I would like
Innocent enough.
working, but oh, sorry. Someone
Well,
say
you're
something.
going. You're
I
going.
don't think I would like working for the TSA, although I do think the fact that they seem to change it up every single time you go through just to keep you guessing might be kind of fun. Like, shoes off, shoes on. Why are you taking your shoes off? And all the things. And then liquids out, no liquids in. Anyway, that might be fun.
Laptop's
But
out. No, why would you take your laptop out of your backpack?
exactly. Take your phone out. But I thought it was only a laptop. No, it's literally like the same airport at the same time. So that part might be fun, but the rest of it I don't think would be very fun. Just dealing with people all like in that. My husband has what we call I call it travel day anxiety. He's in denial that it's a thing, but he's at like 100. Like we hit the airport and it's like, have you seen the reels where it talks about how your immune system, or not your immune system, your heart doesn't know whether it's like being chased by a
Nervous
bear
system.
or walking through an airport? Your what system?
Oh,
Autonomic nervous system.
Yes, thank you. You're not, that's my husband. He's like being chased by a bear as soon as he hits the airport. He has to see the gate, he has to do other things. So dealing with that as a TSA agent all day might get a little stressful. I think he can probably hear me. I don't know.
yeah.
Okay, for the next crazy question, I'm sorry, these questions are just making me laugh. No disrespect for anybody, but has anyone ever had this type of job?
No. No.
I think it's kind of funny because my daughter married into a family, and one of her relatives is a TSA agent. He started probably about a year or so ago. But I know that with the government shutdowns and with all these other different things, I know it's been interesting. Um, this is open for anybody. Um, is there anything that you would like about it or maybe you dislike besides having to go through different things? Is there anything that maybe you would like about it?
I think the stability is nice. Like it's I don't know, like we talk a lot about nowadays, like what jobs can be replaced with AI and stuff. And to an extent, you've already seen like with X-ray machines and certain parts that it can be replaced by machines in a lot of ways. But there's still always going to be the human factor because, for example, I have an inhaler. My inhaler, every time I go through TSA, flags as pepper spray. Or fun fact, Tanya, if you try to travel with a salt shaker, you'll get flagged because it flags as a bomb. So
Did I
don't
tell you
carry
about my
salt.
salt shaker already?
No, but don't
I
carry
didn't
a
tell you
salt
that?
shaker. No, it happened to me this Christmas.
I'll
Don't
be right
carry salt
back.
shakers through
Hang
TSA
on one sec. I'll be right back.
because for some reason it's like the way the material moves or something. Like not pepper, only salt. But there's always that human factor. And so like it's one of those things where you will always have a job and that because it's national security, it's you should at least get some decent benefits. So there is that aspect that I would appreciate, but I'm curious about Tanya's salt shaker now.
As soon as you said salt shaker, I'm like, I must have told my salt shaker story before because how on earth would you know about my salt shaker? Can you see that this is shaped like a grenade?
That's amazing.
My husband found this at the Alamo in San Antonio, and it's, I don't know, habanero salt, like super, super strong salt. And he liked that it was a grenade. So he thought he was going to just bring it home. And my daughter says, Dad, you're not going to get that through TSA in your carry-on bag. And he's like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Oh, my word. So we went,
nightmare.
This is a total tangent, but it's very funny. So we go to Dallas. We're going through the scanner thing. And we thought, well, we'll take it out so they can see
Yeah.
that it's just a glass thing. And so, but because we had these fancy Nexus passes to get through, they just grabbed our bag. Like we just put our bags through and we're like, oh no, the salt shaker. So sure enough, you see the, supervisor on lane 4, like they're like kind of freaking out. So the guy pulls the suitcase over, opens it up. He's like, sir, like seriously. So he starts, swabbing it and scanning it and all this stuff. And
you have to swab. They're like, we still have to swab it to make sure there's no explosives.
Yes.
It's salt.
And my husband goes, you can even dump the salt out. I just want and I just, don't say grenade. Don't say grenade.
Don't say grenade.
Don't say grenade. And he's like, the salt shaker. He goes, sir, it's the same if it's sealed or if it's open. I still have to. So he was quite annoyed. So funny thing, we missed our flight because, we missed our connector because of American Airlines is ridiculous. But anyway, so we had to stay overnight in Dallas. Anyway, we were getting to Dallas and we got stopped. So we had to come back the next day and go through again to go back through the second time. And this time, same thing. We were like, we'll pull it out and we'll, and anyways, it goes through the scanner. And this time we can see the screen the girl's looking at and it's going through. And she literally goes like this. She goes, she like backs up from her computer and she goes, supervisor, please, supervisor. And we saw it on the screen and it was dark green, shaped exactly like a grenade, like perfect with the little handle and everything. Oh my gosh, this thing, I'm just like, yes. So
that's funny.
Note to self, don't buy salt grenades.
Yeah, mine was a cool one.
Assault grenade is what he was calling it. Assault grenade. And I'm just like,
oh no.
Oh, that's comical.
So not only was it salt, it was also grenade shaped.
But yeah, salt itself gets flagged because like the way it moves in the machine, it moves the same way like explosives do or something. Or like it's a common way to hide explosives.
What did you bring back? Was it like a souvenir?
It was just like a Walmart salt shaker. My mom got it for Christmas from my grandmother and she didn't want it. She's like, here, you can use it. And I said, okay. So I put it in my suitcase. The pepper doesn't flag, only the salt.
Oh, that's hilarious.
2 of us in this conversation have been stopped for salt at
TSA. That's funny.
Okay, now we say there's human requirements in TSA, so
that's too funny.
Okay, we'll get back on track, Alice.
Yes. Okay, we have to move on. This is for Chloe. What should O'Reilly do about Sanchez, and what's your reasoning for that? Sorry, I have to pick on you.
You're good. I wouldn't say fire her, which I think would be on a lot of people's minds, but I definitely think giving her a warning or like even taking her aside and giving her a conversation, because it does in some of the questions I was looking at and there's just like in here, it doesn't seem like it could necessarily all be her fault. It seems like there's the other people involved maybe. Sorry, I haven't really been able to read through the case that much.
No, that's totally fine. Does anyone else have any comments at all?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, it says, what should O'Reilly do about Sanchez?
I thought that O'Reilly I think Sanchez was male. I don't know. I was looking.
Yeah. And then explain, and for the reason, explain your reason.
O'Reilly should offer Sanchez a performance improvement plan because he's one of the best employees and just made a mistake. He has had no other if he's had no other mistakes, I think he deserves another shot. Oh, am I doing more than what you asked me? No.
No, that's totally fine because I've got to ask everybody. Um, what about you, Rachel? Do you have like a different view, different answer?
In the beginning, I was gonna say he has to get let go because he already had poor performance training, and then he had to redo it like 2 years ago. But then I read that abstract about the whole performance, positive performance, and then I was like, even the director said at the end, like, humans make mistakes. And so I think because he is a good employee and she uses him as a model to help people understand the job or how they should do the job, he should be put on that positive performance plan. However, I don't think he's a step one at this point. Maybe he has to be moved down into the step two where it's kind of like, what did you do? Sorry, there's that ambulance that's going by me. Like where he has to recognize what he did and what his solution is, like, because he was on the phone when he was not supposed to be on the phone. It wasn't an emergency call. So he's like violation of that, just that rule alone. And then he let someone get through the gate. That's another big one, which was really big. It had to go all the way up to the top. So I don't think it's easy that we can just say, hey, let's have a little conversation. Don't do that again. Like there has to be some kind of positive, whatever that word is for that that plan that they want to put him on, like that positive discipline to help him also let everybody know that, hey, like we don't mess around with these kind of things. I think if they just give him a little tap on the wrist, then, it kind of like, it's the opposite of what they're trying to do. Like their outcome is like super safety and, we have to be watchful. And he was negligent. He was negligent. And so I think there has to be some kind of positive discipline. So,
And my husband's work, they call them PIPs, performance improvement plans. I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
common term.
yep. Yeah, that is.
Kelly, did you have an answer for that other than
Yeah,
what's your thoughts?
I think it's wild that he even was able to have his phone. Like I worked at Crumble, okay? Not an important job. I was the baker. And even at Crumble, we weren't allowed, like our phones had to stay in our lockers. Even if we were expecting an emergency call, like we were allowed to go back and check our phones every once in a while, but like it was while we weren't actively doing something. Like it's like, hey, if you need to use the bathroom, you can go to the bathroom and check your phone really quick, but it has to stay in the locker. So the fact that a TSA agent was able to just have his phone at a workstation is kind of crazy to me. And I'm double checking on the breach to see if that was like a normal, like if everybody was able to just have their phones kind of thing, or if this was like how'd he get his phone in the first place. But if we're doing like he's such a good employee that he shouldn't get fired. He should definitely get put on a performance plan. But part of that performance plan may be like you can't have your phone at your workstation for a little bit. You can, if you're expecting an emergency call, you can leave it with your manager and they can keep an eye on it in case, like if, because he raises his kid alone, right? So he's the only contact. It can be like, hey, we understand you're a single parent. We understand stuff happens. You have proven that maybe you can't handle having your phone with you. But if there's a day where you're expecting like a possibility of an emergency, like you sent your kid to school and they weren't feeling super well, but it was like maybe we'll see kind of thing, like you can give your phone to your manager and they can keep an eye on it, and then if you get a phone call, they can bring it to you. But the fact that he was able to just like have his phone on him is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So my question is for anybody. If Sanchez is fired, who's going to replace him?
Someone who probably doesn't value the job the same way he does.
And the other question comes in, which leads into if he stays on, what are the other TSOs going to think?
I think it's going to cause a problem because let's say someone does a lesser offense, right? Not this
Yeah.
whole big national security, and they get punished really badly, right? Like a normal punishment that follows the rules. I'd be upset. Like he did something bigger, and I'm getting punished for something that's say less,
And
less
then
dangerous.
what follows into the next question is discipline without punishment approach appropriate in this case? And if not, is it ever appropriate?
I don't know if the word punishment is the like, I don't know if he needs to be like punished, like now we're gonna take away whatever. I think it's more of a correction than a punishment. Correction, or and then reinstating the policy and then putting something in writing that if it happens again, you will be fired. There's no question. There's no second chances. It cannot happen again. And they could use the incident to really reiterate that policy for everyone, kind of like this one's a gimme, but everybody else too, you're on notice. This is not acceptable.
And then it runs into the next question. If yes, what stage of the process would this be?
Oh, during the performance, the whatever plan?
And then, which runs into another question. Is it time for Sanchez to take a paid decision-making day?
No,
I kind
don't
of
think
like
so.
that as a concept because I think it kind of makes people really think about it and sweat about it, but I don't know if it's necessarily like I like the concept for someone who had maybe had a really bad attitude and like, hey, you need to take a day and decide because this we need to do something, but I don't think it was maybe necessarily the right move in this case.
And then, which goes into another question, will the chosen course of action satisfy the airports and the public?
So the steps in that plan, like the second read we did, it's informal positive contacts, informal plan performance improvement discussions, formal reminder 1, formal reminder 2, then it's the go home with pay and think about if you stay, change, or leave. So I don't think he's at the leave point. I think maybe he's either a formal or I think there has to be a formal reminder. It was not a small offense. So there has to be either formal reminder 1 or 2, I think, in the situation. And I don't think it's a performance improvement because he just had that. So he remember it said that
He had to get recertified.
yeah, he had to get recertified for poor performance. So he had his already, you're on poor performance, this is your thing. He got recertified. Now this is kind of a bigger offense. It was kind of 2 offenses. So I think it should be between a formal 1 or 2. So
And then, which goes into the next question is, would it be appropriate to punish Sanchez to send a message to the airports, the public, and other TSOs, even if punishment would improve his performance?
I don't know the purpose, but just to scare people. What would be the purpose?
I guess, do you think they're asking, would it be appropriate to punish him to send a message to everybody else? That they're trying to send a message. And if so, if no one thinks he should be fired, what would it have taken him to fire him? I mean,
If that bag was dangerous.
it's almost like you give him an inch, he takes a mile.
Well, the good thing was that there was not that the bag that they flagged, nothing was in it, right? But if something was in that bag, I think that would an automatic fire.
Yeah.
I feel like so he was in charge of an exit lane, not like a normal entrance lane. So I feel like getting fired would have been like you're at a place where people are expecting to come in and either you're not properly checking or you're running the x-ray machine and you're just swiping like you're not actually checking. But he kind of got unlucky in the sense that an international traveler went the wrong way, essentially. Like, sure, it happens, but I feel so in rec management, there's like 3 different kinds of negligence, and the ones that are like there's just like there's negligence in the sense of like you got distracted kind of thing, like a lifeguard on their cell phone. There's gross negligence, which is like basically what a reasonable and prudent person wouldn't do. Like they wouldn't I don't know. In the case of a lifeguard, there's just negligence where it's like they were on their phone. Gross negligence, which was like they're not even near the pool. And then there's willful and wanton, which is like there's glass in the pool and we're just gonna let kids keep playing. And we know about the glass and we're not doing anything. And so in this case, like his kind of negligence kind of goes more in the lines of like just gross negligence. Like, would a normal TSA officer be on their phone? Probably not. They shouldn't have their phones, in my opinion. But it's not like he was passing like, oh, hello, there's a knife in here. It's a small one. Go ahead.
But in this situation, it says that Sanchez's negligence in this case resulted in a 45-minute closure of the terminal, significant travel delays across the country, and an embarrassment to the airport TCA. How bad it would it? Then they're asking how bad it would to fire. Does the severity of the consequences make a difference in the result of the same behavior?
Can you read that last question one more time?
Yeah. It says Sanchez's negligence in this case resulted in a 45-minute closure of the terminal, significant travel delays across the country, and an embarrassment to the airport TCA. How bad would it have to be to fire? Does the severity of the consequences make a difference if the result of the same behavior?
I think that's kind of what we talked about with if there was something in the bag that was dangerous, I think it probably would have been a much different result. So he was kind of just lucky that it was not dangerous. So I think that kind of answered that one already.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this is for Tanya, I guess. Was the security breach entirely Sanchez's fault? Why or why not?
I say no, not entirely Sanchez's fault because they work as a team and no one else caught this guy going the wrong way. There were many people that should have noticed and stopped the traveler. Like when you look at that map of all the people, like there was 20 some people or whatever. I can't remember what number there were. There was a lot
Like
of them.
25
anyway.
or something like that.
Yeah. And none of them noticed or stopped him until he had gone through. So I don't think it was entirely his fault.
In what ways did TSA contribute to the breach? This is open to anyone. Does TSA contribute to the breach?
Yeah, I think it's like Tanya said, there was all those checkpoints prior to that. So it's like everybody essentially should have been focused and observant of everything, although everybody's surroundings, not just their own station.
And I think what leads into the next question, what could have done better to prevent this situation, just like what you said, like if everyone was doing their jobs and caught it to be on alert. Is there appropriate policies in place to prevent a security lapse for this one?
Are you asking someone specific or just anyone?
Just anyone in general.
I think the whole team needs to review the protocols and policies, especially that cell phone policy specifically, but perhaps they need to just do a full review for everybody and make sure that they're covering all their behaviors while they're at work.
And this one's for Kelly. What could TSA do better? Or let me reword it. What could TSA do to make the TSA job more meaningful?
So it mentioned in the case that like when they first started, they got 50,000 people signed on in the first 6 months, but then though like they had a poor retention rate, and so they kind of rephrased their screening process to make sure they were getting people who were eager to come on, and yet they still had a lot of like LTSOs and STSOs saying that the lower level were all complaining, and like they're like, I don't even know why these guys are here. They don't want to be here. And so I think one of the things they need to do is reevaluate their screening process again, because clearly like it didn't do what it was supposed to do. And it said a lot of the people are like fresh out of high school, just looking for some cash, or are just looking for some job experience so they can get out to go somewhere else. And so trying to make sure that they're getting people who can understand the purpose of TSA and are not just there for a paycheck. Um, dang, I can't remember if it was this class or if it was another class, but there was a company, I think it was this class, but there was a company that like, you know, we're gonna offer you $1,000 to like leave training right now. And if they leave training, well, the company's out $1,000, but that means they didn't take somebody because their logic was, if you're gonna come here for money, you're gonna leave here for money.
It
And
was
so
Zappo, was that video.
yeah, it was the Zappos video. And so implementing something similar, obviously you can't do nearly as much because it's the government. And they're cheap. But doing something similar to make sure that they're getting people who are coming to the job who value the job rather than people who are coming to the job who value the paycheck.
Alice, can I add to that?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think something they can do can start all the way at the beginning, like in their job bulletins, right? Stress in their job bulletins what this job really entails, what the type of people they're looking for. They're people that are really focused on national security, people who are things like that, right? And then when it gets to their interview process, they have to do a more thorough interview process with these people. Like, where do you want to be in 5 years? Like, and the kid's saying, I want to be somewhere else. And this is not where he's going to stay a long time. This is just a pass or acquire, right? So I think vetting people through their interview process, writing better job bulletins so people know what they're getting involved in, either put a video on there, like this is a typical day here at this job. This is the type of people we look for, the type of qualities you should have. And then in their interview process, do the same thing. And then make sure that the people who are interviewing screen for those qualities. Even if they have them take those, sometimes applicants have to take those behavioral tests, to even get passed through. So maybe incorporate stuff like that if they're looking for people who are really serious about a lifelong commitment or like a job or career in this field, or other ways they can screen prior to them even coming in and being offered a job, maybe a little bit more strict recruiting policies.
Which is interesting, which leads into the next question. How do TSA's hiring practices contribute or hurt its mission?
I thought
yeah, go ahead.
I think that goes just along with what Rachel was saying.
Yeah.
The hiring practices are a little bit weak. And then I also added that they hired so many new people very quickly. And like Callie talked about with the high turnover rate. And I said, junior people are given important jobs. Maybe they need a percentage of experienced people. And I expect a percentage of juniors always together on staff so that you're not just putting a whole bunch of newbies to work in such an important job.
Okay, for this next one, Kelly, make a decision. What percentage of the breach was Sanchez's fault, and what percentages was it for TAS's fault? Can you give me a number? We can't hear you. You're muted.
I love our cases, but this is where it gets hard because I've been through airports. I know what TSA looks like now, but I don't know how TSA looked back then. So if I was basing it off of now standards, I'd be like, very little of it is Sanchez's fault because how the heck did the guy even make it all the way to the exit gate to get through it? Because like now we have the exit's on a different floor than the entrance. The exit is, they've got turnstiles. You can't go through, like, there's no way to get through the exit going that direction. Versus like back then, if it's just a swinging door or an open entrance, then yeah, Sanchez should have been paying more attention. But also at the same time, still, why was there nobody who was like watching, like before they got to the exit on the other side, right? Why was there not anybody directing traffic? It very clearly talks about, travelers who get confused, get distracted, don't understand the process. Why was there not people who were directing traffic better so that that guy who was scared of not making it was directed to the line he was supposed to be in? Like how, like, again, it very much depends on what their airport layout is. But even if it's like, okay, here's an open area with just kind of doorways that, open doorways. Still, there should have been people before the guy even got to Sanchez that were preventative. Like the guy shouldn't have made it to the exit doors. should he have made it past? No. So Sanchez is also to blame. But where were the guys lined up like before Sanchez to help direct traffic? So I would say like maybe I don't know, 25% Sanchez's fault because like yeah, he's also part of the problem, but even let's say there's four guys, right? Sanchez is one of the four guys, he's at the exit gate and there's three guys directing traffic. Well, each one of those three guys is also to blame because they didn't catch the guy and direct him into the correct line either. So I would say like 25%.
You make a really
What
good
about you?
point. You make a really good point about when this happened because this was like earth shattering, right? You have September 11th, and then all of a sudden it's like
Yeah,
it
so I'm
just
trying to
blew up. So yeah, you're very right because nowadays you can't really go backwards. Like you go through a doorway and it literally locks behind you. You know, like there's exits and it's way more so a lot more technology now as far as how they move people through and everything like that. So you make a very good point about
yeah,
like if that were to happen now in today, like that would be huge because it's so stringent now that it's almost impossible really for a person to go backwards through.
Do you have, Tanya, I mean, what would your numbers be for this situation?
I just said 50-50 because I was having a hard time putting a thing, but Callie made a really good point about how early it was on in the development of security at airports. So probably TSA had a little more, they could have done better to stop that from happening in the first place. But he shouldn't have been on his phone. So
yeah.
somewhere between.
I'm trying to find the year that this happened.
I think
Also,
it was 2006 or something, or I don't know. I was looking too.
there's like a lot of years mentioned, but I can't find the year for this incident. But something else too is as I'm looking at it, who's in charge of scheduling? Because Sanchez worked until 8 the night, like basically for TSA, he kind of worked essentially closing and then started at 3 a.m. the next day. So that was a bad move.
Yeah, that could be, that raises their percentage a little bit, I think, as well.
Yeah, so also whoever's in charge of scheduling, for shame, be better, get more people on staff.
Yeah, what about you, Chloe?
For what?
Well, what would the numbers be for you in this situation? How much of it is Sanchez's fault and how much of it is TSA's fault on this situation?
I would say 50-50.
Okay.
Just because Sanchez, he really shouldn't have been on his phone, especially in a position like that when you're not paying attention. But I feel like the other part of it is that nobody else is paying attention. So I guess the blame kind of goes to everyone. So I would say 50-50 for.
Okay. What about you, Rachel?
I'm 80-20, just to give a different number. 80-20 for all the reasons have already been mentioned, you know.
Okay.
He has liability too.
Okay, now this is the next fun part. They want us to I need two people to play the role. One person needs to play O'Reilly and one needs to play Sanchez. And we need two people to take the role and act the way these people would. And the other team members, we need to watch and observe and think about how well that O'Reilly does in this situation. And it says, tell the person acting O'Reilly that this is the moment when Sanchez is showing up for work, and she needs to tell him what her decision is, and then have them do the role play. And so we have about 7 minutes for this to do. So who wants to be Sanchez? Okay, Kelly. Who wants to be O'Reilly?
I can be
Okay,
O'Reilly.
thanks, Rachel.
Who wants to fire me?
Rachel, do you have a self-driving car or do you have a chauffeur with you?
My husband's driving.
Your husband's your chauffeur. Hello, husband.
Hello.
Yeah.
He probably thinks we're nuts.
No, he can't hear you. It's only me. Yeah, it's only me.
Okay, so we have Kelly and Rachel. We're
I
playing these roles.
didn't sign up because Kellyanne's a really good arguer. So good luck,
Okay,
Rachel.
she is good. I
That's
told
why-
her before that she
That's why I
needs to go in for
hesitated.
law because she is so good the way she thinks. I love the way
Well,
she
we're-
does things. She's very
But we're
talented.
not
That's a
gonna have
talent
to
that
do
she's
that.
got.
Okay, well, Sanchez, thank you today. Thank you for meeting with me today. I'm sure you're aware why we're here.
I'm so sorry. I was reminding my daughter to do her homework. We were supposed to go have a nice daddy-daughter day after I got off of work, so I needed her to do her homework, and it was only supposed to be a couple minutes, and I am so sorry.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me, Mr. Sanchez. I understand life. We all have kids, we all have priorities. What do you think you could have done different in this circumstance?
Honestly, I see this is where the timing. We're gonna pretend that I could send a text. We're gonna say I could.
Okay.
Because I think it said video call, so I think I could have sent a text. Yeah. I was like, wait, what year is this? Honestly, I guess I probably didn't have to get on the call. Um, I probably could have texted her and it would have gotten through, but it was one of those, oh, I should tell her, and I got on the phone without thinking. Um, yeah, I could have just, shot a text really quick or even like asked to like, waited till I got a chance to go to the restroom and sent it while I was in there when I wasn't on duty. Again, like if I had taken another second to think before doing anything, I could have probably come up with a better way to do that, like to get the message to my daughter. But it was just, you know, when you have those, oh, I need to do it before I forget. It was one of those.
Thank you for sharing that. And I do understand. And we also have to still address the seriousness of the issue. So we did have airport shutdowns. We did have very upset passengers. Um, so as much as we appreciate all the work that you have done for us, and you really are one of our stellar superstars. And so this is what we're kind of thinking at this point. So I personally do not want to let you go. That is not my plan here today. I do have to, however, instill some form of correction. So at this point, only because we have had a performance issue in the past, which you have corrected and you move forward
Yeah,
through proper
but I got
training.
I got recertified, so like it cancels out, right?
Correct. I think does it follow up? I don't remember the story if it fell out or not. So you did, and we appreciate you doing that. And we also have to, because this incident was a very high priority incident for the airport, we do have to give you a formal reminder. So in this formal reminder, we need to just have to reiterate the expectations. One, your phone is not supposed to be on the floor at all during your shift. Okay. Two, we have to be vigilant in our areas that we're working. So it was not only just the phone, it was also that we needed your focus where it needed to be on all points of entrance and exits here where we were at. So at this point, we have to just give you a formal reminder. So this
Okay,
will go
are we
in.
changing the phone policy? Because I've seen like I don't want to tattle, so I won't name names unless you need me to, but I've seen like five other agents on their phone throughout their shift, and stuff could have gotten by them. It just happened to get by me. So like is everybody gonna get written up for this? Because that feels kind of unfair that it just because it happened to me, I'm the one getting punished when everybody's done it.
Correct. Unfortunately, the incident that you were involved in, which we're only going to focus on your issue, but thank you for bringing that up. I will address that with the whole team. After this, we'll address that. But in this incident, because of the phone issue and the national security issue that it caused in the airport, that is why we have to move forward with a formal warning at this point. And
Okay,
I
are
understand you may not like it. Yeah, go ahead.
are Chad and Jack, they were supposed to be manning the opening gate, right? So like how did this guy get past them to, like I get that I messed up. Like I understand getting that formal warning, but I hope I'm not the only one who's getting blame in this moment because Chad and Jack, they were running the front opening. They should have caught the guy first before he even made it to my gate. So are they going to get talked to too? Because that seems kind of unfair that they made it past them first, but since he made it all the way to my gate, I'm the one getting punished when they should have stopped him first.
Yeah, unfortunately I'm unable to share any issues that we're going to have with other people. So this is specifically just about what your incident that happened. So I'm unable to share about other employees at this time. So we're just going to focus on what happened with you at this point. And if there's other issues, like you did mention other issues with other people, well, then that's a broader conversation we will have with the whole team. But in terms of direct punishment for certain individuals, that's something that I can discuss here with you due
All
to
right.
confidentiality. Yeah. So I
Well,
do have this formal warning here for you. Um, I'm going to ask you to go forward and go ahead and read it. After that, we do ask you can sign or not sign it. It's not going to make a difference really, but if that's up to you, it's just for you to acknowledge that you did receive it. But I also want to reiterate that you do an amazing job. And we do recognize that in you. We recognize how you're an example to everybody. And I don't want this to be um, a time where you're just going to get down on yourself, because that's not what it is. It's just a form of correction and to move forward and grow. And that's all we're just going to ask from you at this point. So we do appreciate all the work that you do for us, and we value your experience. And so just wanted to let you know that as well. Do you have
okay.
any questions?
Am I still able to clock in today? Like I really need the paycheck too. Like I love my job, but I'm trying to save up for my daughter's, future college fund. That's why I ended up working, essentially a clopen this past week was because I'm saving up for that. So can I clock in today?
Yes, you may clock in today, but I do ask that you leave your phone in your locker. And if there is an emergency, you can leave it with one of the senior staff TSOs, STAs.
Okay, understood.
All
Yeah,
right.
I will sign that paper.
Thank
Cool.
you so much. Okay, guys.
Good
You
job,
guys did
Rachel.
amazing. You guys are so good. Um,
Good job, both
this,
of you. But you took on Kellyanne and you did good.
oh my
That's
gosh,
good.
you were good. You were really, really good. I
Threw
mean,
me
you're
off with the other two
phenomenal.
people. What?
Um, this is for anybody. What did you guys observe or what did you notice? This is open between for either Chloe or for Tanya, not Kelly or Rachel, but for you two, for either Chloe or Tanya.
I
What was the
noticed
question? Sorry.
that O'Reilly did a really good job of keeping the focus on the issue, because Sanchez did a really great attempt at, hey, what about this? What about this? I don't want to tattle, but Chuck and Larry, or whatever the names were. So I think O'Reilly did a great job just continuing to bring the focus back to the issue at hand and not getting distracted. And I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I thought it was good that like not only did you talk about the problem, but you talked about like the positive aspects of how good of a worker he is, and the good thing is because I think that really like brings in the mood and lowers the stress from both sides. Like you're doing great. We want you to stay. We want you to keep your position. Just know that this happened and let's not have it happen again, type of thing.
Do you think, and this is for either Tanya or Chloe again, do you think that Riley did the right thing?
Yeah.
What about you, Chloe?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Um, this is for both of you again. Sorry to keep on picking both of you, but Kelly, um, what would you what would you have done differently, or what would if you were in that situation, what would you have done differently?
Nothing. I think she did the right thing.
I can't think of anything.
Okay. Um, for this is for O'Reilly. This is for you, Rachel. Um, was it what was difficult to say in the conversation?
What was difficult to stay in the conversation?
Yeah, the question is, ask O'Reilly, what was difficult to say in this
Oh,
conversation?
say in the
I'm sorry.
conversation. Yeah, sorry. I think it's difficult to say that even though it's not like entirely your fault, we still have to move forward and, have some kind of consequence for the action that happened. Yeah.
And how would you tell someone you respect and care for that he is not performing? I guess the question is how would you tell someone you respect and care for that he is not performing?
Is that for
I
anybody or
think
just for?
for
Go
anybody
ahead.
or
For I would
Go
say for
ahead.
anybody.
okay.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Hmm. I think just communicating that high love, high expectations attitude of like, balancing, hey, we've got to be better. One thing that I told a friend the other day because he was kind of struggling with a similar thing is use a lot of we language. Don't use a lot of I versus you. That tends to put people on the attack and it makes them less willing to hear what you have to say. But if you use a lot of we language, acknowledging where you could have also improved, and then instead of focusing on, well, you've done this and this has happened, like instead of focusing on the past, say like, this is where we want to be in the future. And this is this is the things we need to do to get there. It's okay to acknowledge, like, hey, like, we need to get better at weekly check-ins. And then if they're like, well, I've always done my weekly check-ins, I'm like, yep. And like, you definitely tried and I've missed it sometimes and I've definitely tried. And like, sometimes we've been bad about it. So we, like, moving forward, we should have a scheduled time and day so that like we can just really be able to do these weekly check and like focusing on what the improvement goal versus you've done this and this is what's made it bad and just focusing on that we language.
Okay. Is this hard to do and why? This is open for anyone.
It's a fine balance. So I think it is hard. I had to do something recently, and I'm the primary president, and I had a very upset teacher. So she didn't agree with something I did, right? So I had to have that conversation. It's hard because you love them and you don't want it to be personal because it's not personal, but they take it personal. So it's like that fine balance of you have to correct an action, but you also can't, you have to do it with love. So you always have to think, I think, we think of all this BYU, the whole teach with love and everything is that we have to do it like the way the Savior would do it, right? And sometimes it's hard because we get emotional as well. But I think for me, it's kind of like thinking first what I want to say, saying a little prayer before I go out there, and just like make sure the words just come out right. But I think it's difficult, especially if you respect or love the person. Like you don't want to hurt them, but you also can't let things go either, so it's a delicate balance.
That's very true. Okay, Callie, would you fire Sanchez, put him on probation, give Sanchez paid leave, or would you require Sanchez to receive additional training?
I think I would require additional training. Paid leave, he's only going to get in his head more about it. Um, like he's not going to be able. Some people would see that as like, oh, I'm helping him go on vacation and enjoy his time with his daughter, but he's not gonna be able to enjoy his time with his daughter. The whole time he's gonna be nervous that this is actually just a way that he's getting fired and you're trying to placate it. Like he's not gonna be able to focus during that time off. And so then he's going to come back and he's gonna be even more rattled. Laying him off, he doesn't like I said, there should have been more things in place so that that guy didn't even make it to Sanchez. So it wouldn't be fair to fire him without also taking disciplinary action to the other people who would have been responsible. Um, at the end of the day, I think as a company and as an organization, they need to take a better look at their phone policy because honestly, how did he have his phone on him to begin with? And so take a better look at that and reevaluate that as a company and don't fire him for something that really is kind of your fault for not having a policy against that when that is a pretty easy thing to write a policy against and a pretty obvious one that you should have written a policy against already. And then just, yeah, training under the new policy, um, and documented training and agreements, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Tanya?
I agree with that, either additional training or I could even see probation to just say, okay, listen, we're going back to, you've got 6 months now, we want to see, or some length of time for the performance improvement plan. And then they check in again at the end of that. How's it going? And give him actual feedback on how he's doing. That's what I would add.
Okay. What about you, Chloe?
I would go with additional training just because I feel like doing that is where you're really gonna see the improvement and the correction being made. So,
Okay. Rachel, what's your thoughts on this?
I'm kind of debating training because I'm just thinking how many times I took safety training and how many times I still don't do safety training a lot of times. Like there's just a lot of things that I don't know if a training would change a behavior. So I don't know if it needs to be a little bit more like a probationary period where they know they're kind of being watched, and maybe that kind of changes their behavior a little bit. But it's also like the one of the case studies we did before, like people will be better when they're watched, right? But then when people walk away, then they're not better. So it's really thinking about how we're going to change behavior. And I don't know if that's I don't really know how to achieve that sometimes, because sometimes with all these case studies we've done, incentives sometimes doesn't do it. People watching you doesn't do it. So I don't know if it's going back to the beginning. It's getting the right people, like they say on the bus, getting the right people on the bus to do the job that don't have to be watched and don't have to, have to be all these motivators to do the right thing. So I don't know. I'm a little all over the place with it. I have a lot of thoughts. So,
Well, it's interesting because they said after this situation, Sanchez got a warning but was not fired. However, 2 months later, he caused another serious breach. What would you do about it now? And what does this case teach us about discipline? And that's open
Fired.
to anybody.
Fired.
Was the breach caused by cell phone usage again?
it doesn't say.
Because if
Yeah,
it was
it
cell
just
phone
says
usage,
that.
then I'm still questioning the TSA phone policy.
It just says that
in the
he
thing.
caused another serious breach and asked the following, what would you
Yeah,
do
that's the
now?
policy.
What does this case teach us about discipline?
I think you need to implement punishment or discipline right away instead of letting it lag on, because there's no improvement if you're just letting them get away with it.
Did you say that he only received a warning?
It just said Sanchez, okay, after this episode, Sanchez got a warning, but was not fired. However, 2 months later, he caused another serious breach. What would you do about it now? And then what does this teach us about discipline? So obviously, he just got a warning the first time he caused this, but then a couple of months later, he caused another breach.
For me, it doesn't matter if it was the cell phone again, because otherwise you'd have like a person could mess up like 25 times when it's a cell phone doing it a couple times. Maybe it's something else. I think second major breach, he's had his formal warning. It's written up, fired.
Yeah, he has to be gone at that point.
Chloe, do you have a different response?
No, I think he should be fired at this point.
I would say fired from TSA, but if he's as good with flight, like with I guess customers as Sanchez is saying, or as O'Reilly is saying, maybe recommend him to work with an airline or something so that he's still getting that he's still having the positive influence that he has on flyers, but he's not responsible for
Not responsible for their safety.
right. Not responsible for your safety, but you're there like if because it talked about him being really good at helping new flyers and having that kind of energy and stuff. So clearly he's good at being in that environment and helping people who are stressed already. And you want somebody like that in the airport, but maybe not somebody like that responsible for security and responsible for their safety. So maybe offering like, okay, you can no longer work for the TSA, you have caused breaches. However, there are certain aspects of you that we still value. So here's a different airport job that doesn't require you to be responsible for other people's safety.
Make him a bartender. He'd be a
That you
great
can still
bartender.
help with.
He could be the guy that drives people around on the cart.
Yes, something like that. But just something that's not safety and national security. Like, yes, you are done being on security. You're
No,
done.
I gotta hand it to you because you're right about that because not everybody, when you're in a position like that, not every, you're hired for a job, but sometimes the glove doesn't fit the hand. Maybe that didn't work out, but like you said, maybe going into a different position that's not so critical as this because I mean, I think about it, I thought, man, one warning, another strike, How
Mhm.
many times does it have to happen until serious action, takes place? So yeah, I think that was an interesting one. So yeah, you got a good point on that, Callie. Really, really good point. So now, just to wrap everything up, Rachel, what was the most important thing that you learned from this case?
Um, I think we have to look at, like, if we're managers, right? If we're putting ourselves in a manager position, I think we really have to look at the overall employee performance when we are disciplining. Um, he had one slip up. Doesn't mean we fire everybody on the one offense. I guess depending on the offense and where you work, right? Like if someone caused a death, you're done. But I think you have to look at the overall person and maybe not try to just focus on one thing. I guess, I don't know. I think that's what I'm trying to say is like look at everything together. Like I wanted to look at Sanchez's total performance, not just this one incident, and then kind of blackball him for one incident. Kind of like, let's look at overall and where does it fall. And I
What
think
about
that's
you,
what gave him
Chloe?
a warning.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
That was it. I think that gave him a warning.
Yeah. What about you, Chloe? What was your
Um,
thought?
I think just being smart and keeping things professional, especially when it comes to resolving the conflict or trying to figure out what happened and why and what to do next. So, yeah, like how she didn't reveal any information about, or the manager didn't reveal anything about what, because she was like, or Sanchez was putting stuff like, oh, but they were a part of it too. Like they've done this multiple times, but it's just like keeping it confidential between the two. Like you did this, and this was a main problem, especially since it's revealed again that there was some other kind of breach with them. I think you just have to be smart about it and keep it professional and stay focused because if you're not, then a lot of other things could have happened as well.
Okay. Tanya, what's your thoughts?
I was going to be cheeky and say the best thing I learned was that I'm glad he wasn't at the TSA when I went through my. Well, actually, no, I should have had him there so that I could have got the salt less hassle. Gosh, I think the thing I learned from this is that it's really not black and white, and there's a lot of gray in the discipline field. And just listening to Rachel and Kellyanne have their conversation, it was like, oh yeah, good point. Oh yeah, good point. Oh yeah, good point. And it's not black and white for sure.
Okay. Kelly, what's your thoughts?
Sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, what did you learn from this situation? It's ask each team member what is the most important thing they learned from this case.
I'm trying to think because there was like I think one thing that I learned that I've kind of been learning throughout the whole class is just like when reading these cases, it's important to take into perspective the time. Like when we did the OSHA safety one, it was like, okay, but this was in the 80s, so OSHA standards were different. Like the things you were reading about, like, that's terrible. Why would you even be doing that? And you're like, well, that was industry standard. Um, and so like trying to keep that in mind as we read the cases. But as far as like discipline goes, um, again, a lot of we language moving forward. I think kind of what we were saying, where like sometimes the glove doesn't fit the hand. It's okay to acknowledge that that person has really amazing qualities that do not fit the necessary role. And either if, if it's time for them to leave, then saying like, here are some places where the qualities you have would fit, and I would gladly write you a letter of recommendation. Or if you really think the person is great, and again, it's that role doesn't fit, don't be afraid to be like, we want to keep this person. So how can we make it work? Like it doesn't have to be one size fits all. Like how can we keep a person who clearly loves what they're doing and is really good at certain parts of it, but isn't good at other parts? Because at the end of the day, they're about to replace somebody who cares about the job with somebody who's in it for a paycheck and will probably leave after they get trained.
Yeah, it's a good point. Good point. And the very last one is how do you guys felt how this today's discussion went or this discussion went with do you
10
think
out
it
of
went
10.
well?
Great.
Great job. Great
10.
job.
Sweet. You guys are awesome. Okay, I'm gonna close it out because we're a minute 7:59, so I'm gonna just stop recording right now.